Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
Hello, my name is Adam Evalt. You might know me from the last episode I did on Side Quest on Ali World, but I also do music on the Spotify's, the Apple Musics. You can find me under my name, Adam Evalt. That's more the cinematic music I do, but I also do fun, lo-fi music under Castor Garden. That's like lo-fi stuff. I did a holiday special with Andrew Orsi, so that was a fun track on that EP. I also did a Shred the Sky, which is a little bit more run kind of music, so if you like that stuff. But I also do a Life is Strange podcast with Adnan Riaz called Strange Cast. It's a Life is Strange podcast where we talk about news of Don't Nod. So if you like that stuff, check out Strange Cast. I'm also a professional line cook in an Italian restaurant, and I don't know what sleep is. But speaking on that, sleep, that's what we're going to talk about, is sleeping dogs. Wow, transition, Adam. So Sleeping Dogs, if you don't know what it is, it's a action-adventure video game. In 2012, it released on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 and Windows. There was also a definitive edition on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Unfortunately, not Switch. I wish it was on Switch because I love this game so much, and I wish it was on every platform I could buy it on. But what is Sleeping Dogs? Sleeping Dogs, as I said, is more action-adventure. You know, I don't think it's an RPG because you're not really playing the role of your own character. It's action-adventure. There are stats that you can boost in this game, but I'll get that in a second. What's the story of Sleeping Dogs? I'm not going to get into spoilers. I'm not really going to touch on a lot of things because I think going to Sleeping Dogs cold is your best bet. But, you know, basic synopsis is that a cop, Wei Shen, moved from Hong Kong to somewhere in America, but now he's back in Hong Kong, being an undercover police officer, investigating a triad. I'm not going to go too much into it because, again, I think going into this cold is better. But, you know, he comes back. There's some familiar faces he knows about. And he has this sort of duty to do for his police. But he must also be, you know, in the triad. He must be, you know, a gangster, I guess you can say. But that's what's great about this story is that there's a lot of struggle between being a police officer, but also being a familiar face to the people that you once knew. So in the game, as you're playing, there's certain stat points that you can go on. There are police stats, and there are, I'm just going to call them gangster stats, I'm going to say, because that's more fun for me to say. But as you go through, sometimes as you go on through a mission, let's say you break city property. That means you're just driving and you hit a phone pole. Like you're just driving and you hit a phone pole. That's going down in your police stats because that's damaging city property. But as you do things for the triad, right, you have to do certain things that police officers won't like. So as you're trying to build your stats in certain playthroughs, you have to think about each action that you go through of how you're going to do each mission and how you don't do each mission. What actions don't you do? Do you not hurt civilians? Do you not break police for property? So as you play each mission, it's more thinking of what you want to be, right? Now, does this mean the story's going to be affected? Not necessarily. It just more affects your stat points as you go on. There are certain moves and certain power-ups that you can get in this game as you progress in the story, and the only thing that it affects is your power-ups. But the story in of itself does not change. And may I say, this story in this gets me playing this game every single time. I have been thinking about replaying this game for, without exaggerating, the 7th time. Probably. I've played this game a lot. And the story keeps coming back to me because it's simple in the best ways possible. It's repetitive in the best ways possible. You know what's going to happen. This story has been done before of an undercover cop getting too personal within the let's say mission that the person is going through, right? The undercover cop getting too personal, and the police officer is like, oh, what are you doing? You can't be too personal. And Wei Shen's like, oh, but I love them so much. But you know, it's been done before. But the way the story develops, the way the story progresses, the way you can actually feel Wei Shen's pain and Wei Shen's fury for a certain person, let's say, you really feel for Wei Shen. Wei Shen is definitely the center point, right? And you really feel for this character. So while this story has been done before in other movies, other medias, you know, books, TV shows, whatever, the way it's presented, it's not what the story is, it's how the story is presented. I think it keeps you coming back. I think it makes you feel for Wei Shen. I think it makes you feel for each party, the police and the triad. I think it makes you feel for the entire city of Hong Kong. A lot of people compare this to Grand Theft Auto, but in Hong Kong. I can see where they're coming from for that. I really can. However, I don't think it boils down to just GTA in Hong Kong. It's not about, you know, gangsters getting in their way, but it's definitely this sort of middleman trying to make things work. And I'm not going to say too much of the story because I think you should get this game. I think you should play through the story. And it's a story that I think will stick with you in the end. But what I really want to talk about for the rest of my time here is that the fun side activities you can do, because that's the thing about a good video game is that there is a story, sure, and that's a great story. I can think of loads of video games where it's just the story, it's just a linear story, and you have a great time. That's fine. But what I really want to talk about is the side activities in Sleeping Dogs. Story, fantastic. Think you should play it. However, I think the side activities is what's keeping me coming back to this game every single time. There are collectibles. You collect these jade statues all across the map, and you'll see like little markings on the map, and you have to look for them. You bring them back to this martial arts studio, and he says, "Oh, thanks for bringing me back this little statue. Let me teach you a new martial arts move," and you learn a new move from this collectible. There are romance options. You bring up this phone. There's little side missions with the romance options. Sometimes it's just taking selfies with a date. Sometimes it's taking them around town. It's fun. I think there's a lot of good story behind those missions. There's also, okay, hear me out. You listening? Are you sitting down? Listener, are you sitting down for this? Cool. You got to hear me out with this. My favorite side activity in this entire game is the karaoke. Listen, hey, don't, okay, you're still there? Cool. The karaoke is my favorite side activity because it's essentially Guitar Hero with your left thumbstick, because you have to mark the pitch of your voice with the actual singing involved. And each time you progress through the game, new songs unlock in different karaoke bars. So you can go to karaoke bar. There's a little thing on your map, pop, and you know there's a karaoke, and you're like, oh, I'm a jam right now. So you go into the bar, you go into the back room, and oh, there's a karaoke machine, dog. There's a karaoke machine. So you go into the karaoke machine, you pop in the song, and then you have to configure the left thumbstick to aim the pitch of where it's supposed to go. Am I the perfect singer? Absolutely not. Will you ever hear me sing on any of my songs? Probably not. But I can sing in karaoke in Sleeping Dogs. It's very fun. It's very satisfying too. There's a lot of good hits on there. I'm not going to spoil what's on there, but there's definitely a song that I keep going back to. And whenever I replay it, my wife is like, oh no. And then the certain song plays. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. Boom, boom, boom. So it's a lot of fun. like I said, there's collectibles. There are side missions, romance options. There are karaoke's. There's collecting cars, right? You can call in a vehicle that you unlocked, and boom, there's your little car right there. So again, I think this can be in the realm of Saints Row, GTA, but I don't want people boiling it down to just like, oh, well, it's this, but in Hong Kong. It's in the same genre, I'll say. If you like Saints Row, if you like Grand Theft Auto, I think you'll like Sleeping Dogs. But to say that Sleeping Dogs is those games, but in Hong Kong, I think it's underselling this game. I think it's underselling the story, because the story is very much keeping me back going to it. You know how words work. But the story is great. The side activities are even better, in my opinion. As much as I love the story, I love the side missions. I love the side activities. And I love making different playthroughs as well. Like, will I be a more police officer heavy on my playthrough? Will I be more crime oriented in my playthrough? Which stats am I going to boost up? There's so many other collectibles that I'm not even talking about in this. But it's not like a Ubisoft game where it's just pointless collectibles, pointless things on the map. You're excited to go to these things. Even the clothing stores are exciting to go to because you can collect different pieces of clothing from different areas of the map. So let's say you want a certain pair of pants. There's only a certain pair of pants in one section of the map. So you go to that store. It's amazing. Oh, before you even go, speaking about the clothing, there are certain clothing options that you cannot do unless you have certain street cred. So there's also side activities that, pop up on the map, and they build up your street cred. So there's certain things that you actually can't wear unless you have a certain level of street cred. So like, let's say like a big gold chain, you need to have like level 5 street cred. It's called like face. But, it's street cred. But you have to do these certain activities if you want to wear this certain item, which makes sense because, you have to rock the clothes. You have to rock the gangster look by doing street cred. So there's even certain outfits that you have to unlock by doing certain missions, but you don't have to do any of this because the story is fulfilling in of itself. But again, after you beat the story, there's so many other things that are just so much fun to do. Again, building up street cred, doing these collectibles, doing the side activities. It's something that there's certain things about side activities that you have to really build upon. And I think the team behind, unfortunately, United Front is no longer there. There was supposed to be a Sleeping Dogs 2. It got canceled. I forget what it was. But yeah, the studio shut down. I'm even looking on the Wikipedia page, but that's beyond the point. You can look it up. But yeah, United Front was shut down. There's no Sleeping Dogs 2 that we know of. But that's just it. I think the side missions of this game really hit hard, which is really hard for a game to do, to get side missions right. And this game does it. The story keeps you in. The side missions keep you in. It's one heck of a game. And it's always on sale. So if you're on Xbox, if you're on PlayStation, if you're on PC, this game is always on sale. In fact, when I first got this game, I play on Xbox and I got it for free on Xbox Live Gold. Bro, it was phenomenal, man. I definitely think that I think you can buy it for $20 if I remember right, the definitive edition, just regular price. But it's always on sale for like $4. $10. So if you want to wait for a sale, totally fine. It's always on sale on some platform. So definitely look for it. If you're on Switch, sorry, it's not on Switch. I even want it on Switch. So, take it on the go with me. But it's a delightful game. It's action adventure. If you like those games, if you like Saints Row, you'll love this game. And there's not much more for me to say about it because, again, I think the story, you should go in cold. You should let the story develop and just see where it takes you. But that's Sleeping Dogs for you. So with that, I guess I'm just going to bounce out. But before I go, I want a favor from all of you listening to this. And I know, hey, Matt, I know you're listening to this. I know you're editing. You better not edit this out. You need to go on Twitter. You need to go to Matt Stormageddon's Twitter. You need to say, hey, man, I love the content you're putting in. I love the hard work. Matt, don't edit this out. Hey, don't you edit this out. This is about you, bro. But you need to go to the Twitter account. You need to say you're putting out great content. You're doing hard work. You're allowing people to geek out about games. Man, you're such a saint in the gaming world. You need to go over, give Matt Stormageddon some love. Right now, that's your homework assignment. Right now as you're listening to this. But on that note, thanks again for listening to me rant about a video game that I really, 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 really love. And Matt, thanks again for having me. It was a blast doing this again. And until the next one, keep listening to Fun and Gaming Podcast, Fun and Games. It's the morning for me. I'm sorry if I got it wrong. Oh no, Fun and Games? Okay, I'm just going to go now. I love you all. Have a safe one. And hey, happy gaming.
Have you ever sat on a long commute or a dull day in the office and let your mind wander back to the days of rectangle pizza, bowls and bowls of sugar cereal, and gushing over your favorite cartoons and movies in school, and worry that those favorites from childhood won't hold up today? Well, the Saturday Morning Confidential podcast answers those questions for you. Host Maddie Limerick sits down with artists and creators of today to pull back the veil of nostalgia to talk about what's great and what we would change in hindsight years later. So pull on your comfiest PJs, pour yourself a bowl of your favorite cereal, and take a deep dive into the files of Saturday Morning Confidential. Releasing bi-weekly on Saturdays, available on your favorite podcast platforms and at certainpov.com.
CPOV.
certainpov.com.